Hi there, my name's Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm comparing a Martin standard OM-28 guitar to a custom shop OM-28 Engelmann guitar. First of all, let's bear in mind these are the same spec apart from basically the custom shop has an Engelmann top and the standard series has a spruce top, and the custom has a glossy headstock and a narrow nut, and the standard series has a wider nut and no gloss on the headstock. Otherwise, they're basically the same. So, are these guitars going to sound different? Well, obviously, they're going to sound different. They are different woods, and all woods sound different. And I want to say straight away, I've played a lot of Martins lately of the same model that sound completely different. I believe that wood guitars all have a unique character. So in a way, the point of this video is moot. But I thought it'd be fun to do, and this serves another purpose as well. I am currently downsizing the guitars, and I feel like it'd be good for me to compare these two and see what you think in a blind comparison. I'm going to freeze in the middle so you can put your thoughts in the comments below. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you what guitar I prefer and which one I'm going to keep. So I think this will be very useful. And also, I'm looking to have a guitar that is kind of a benchmark for other guitars that I either buy or review on the channel. So I kind of already know which one that is. But there may be a caveat depending on how I feel when I listen back to the recordings. I'm using the handheld recorder today on the desk. I love this thing, the Porta Capture. I'll link that below in the description as well as the guitars. And I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to switch between these two. This is the standard behind me and this is the custom. I'm not going to tell you which is which in the first comparison. Then please, in that interval, write down which one you prefer or your thoughts on the two different tones. And then I'll come back and tell you which one I prefer in the room, because I think that sounds different to through the microphone as well. And the reason that I'm going to keep the one that I'm going to keep. I hope you enjoy this video. It's a bit of fun. Let's do it and see what you think. Wear headphones as well, because you can't do this with an iPhone speaker. You need to wear good quality headphones or have good quality studio monitors to really hear the nuances in these acoustic guitar recordings. Here we go. so let me reveal the answers to you now that you've put your thoughts in the comments. So the first guitar was the Custom Shop, and the second guitar was this standard series. So let me talk now about how they feel to play, how I feel about the looks and the sounds of these guitars, and which one I'm going to keep. First of all, the standard series Martin. Great looking guitar. It's got the 1 3/4 inch nut, which some people prefer. The other guitar has a slightly narrower nut, but I play a lot of electric guitar, so it doesn't really bother me. But some people do prefer the wider nut for fingerstyle. This particular guitar has the streaky ebony, which I'm not a fan of, as you would have seen in my previous video I did the other day. But there we go. Some people like that. It's got a gorgeous top on it. It's really why I chose this guitar when I ordered it. This is a few months old. The other guitar is older, but it hasn't been played that much. So it's not like one guitar has been played in more than the other. Not really. Here is the back and sides. Really nice. So the guitar looks amazing. It plays great. The action's great. I added the strap button and the pickup output jack, by the way. I wish Martin would add both of those things, but they don't. This guitar is amazing. But I feel when I play it in the room, like when I recorded it just then, that it sounds quieter. It almost, if I was going to be negative, I'd say it sounds muted, duller, quieter. But actually, here's what's happening. This guitar naturally has less of a mid-range push, like the other guitar has. And mid-range gives the impression of volume. So when you turn up an electric guitar amp in the mid-range, it cuts through a mix. So that's what it is. And actually, I like the sound of this guitar. I like how scooped it is for a few reasons. One, it will record really well, because usually when you record an acoustic guitar for strumming, you're going to then cut out those mid frequencies around 1 kilohertz or around that area. You'll cut that out anyway. This kind of naturally has it cut out, so you won't have to cut it out. And when you're singing live, your voice should, or even in a room with no amplification, your voice should sit well over the top of this guitar. It also makes it sound sweeter and in a way kind of more expensive. It sounds nicer, sweeter, all those kind of words. It's really, really cool. And I've not heard many guitars have this sound. So this is quite unique for me. Usually OMs have a bit more of that mid-range push because the dreadnoughts have more bass and therefore you feel like you get less mid-range, especially with the HD-28. With this guitar, I'd expect more mid-range. It actually has quite a scooped mid-range and quite an enhanced bass response. It's very, very sweet sounding. This is the problem when you compare guitars. You immediately hear pros and cons in each, and you realize you can't have both things in both guitars. And that is always frustrating. It's why they say comparison is the thief of joy, and you really shouldn't compare guitars back to back. I've done that in the past multiple times over many hours, and it's really just a waste of time. But there we go. I need to make a decision today. So this is a very sweet sounding guitar. It looks great. It plays great. So is this the one that I'm going to keep? Well, let's just check out the Custom Shop before I tell you. So here is the Custom Shop Engelmann guitar. This is basically kind of a copy of the original OM-28 John Mayer guitar, which is now highly, highly, highly sought after. Now, those guitars are very old now. They've been played in. They're made at a different time in Martin's history, weren't they? Made a while ago. But they are highly revered, and you can see why in this guitar. This guitar is more, well, it's louder and more open, and it's got more of a thwack to it. So this is a tough one because my preference in a guitar, what I think a guitar should sound like, an acoustic guitar should sound like, is loud, dynamic, and punchy. Sometimes people have said I like bright guitars. Now, brightness would imply presence. I don't like that. I like that mid-range cut, that 1 kilohertz to 2 kilohertz cut. Now, I'd have to cut that out in a recording, but in the room while I sit and play a guitar, I like that because it gives the impression of volume. And actually, if you look at the levels on the recorder while I was recording those two guitars, this guitar is louder, and maybe for that reason. But I also love the look of this. I love abalone around sound holes, and this has that. I love the solid black fretboard, which you don't see so much now, and I just love that. Don't love the inlays as much. They're a bit more bland, but they kind of offset nicely against the fancy sound hole. This guitar actually smells really good too. If you want to get a sound hole sniffer shirt, this is the one to smell. It smells really good. It looks incredible. It really does. And there's the back and sides on this, which are also very good. But that top grain is particularly good. Yeah, for me, this guitar looks better. It's got the narrow nut. I'm kind of indifferent. If I had to choose, I'd probably choose the wider nut. But it's like everything else when you compare things. Some songs you play, you'll prefer the narrow nut. Some songs you play, you'll prefer the wider nut. That's the problem again with comparing. But I really like the volume and power from this OM. You're not always going to get that from a small body guitar. So often smaller guitars or even bigger guitars can sound kind of quiet and distant. This guitar does give the feeling of taking the strumming well and filling the room and being in your face. And I do like that. I have to admit, I'm a fan of that. So this was a really tough video to make. I think all my comparisons going forward will be, because I've got some good guitars that I'm going to be selling. And the minute you compare them, you hear the good and bad in each guitar for sure. And you really, it's very rare for me to find one guitar that smokes another one. That does happen. But often when you've got two good guitars, you'll hear the good and bad in each and think, well, for certain situations, I want that guitar. And certain situations, I want that guitar. And that's how sometimes you end up with many guitars. But I don't want to be in that situation, so I'm going to make a decision. So my personal preference of these guitars is this one, based on the looks of it and the sound of it. I just like the power it has. And by the way, this does have an undersaddle pickup. The other guitar has the hi-fi pickup, but no undersaddle. Now, some people say the undersaddle pickup makes a difference to the tone. So if I remove the pickup from here, it may sound even louder or even better. Who knows? But I say lately, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm going to leave it as it is because I'm very happy with the guitar as it is. And I think going forward, this will be the guitar that I compare other guitars to, especially in any sort of OM size guitars. So I look forward to seeing what you thought in the comments. I really don't mind either way because this stuff is so personal. And I really think these are both great guitars. And the biggest lesson I've learned today is that two Martin guitars of the same model, even with different top woods, they can sound completely different. You really have to check the action and the string age is the same on two guitars and play them back to back and then make a decision. How do you make that decision? Well, that's on you because tone is subjective. Anyway, thanks for your help today. I look forward to reading your comments below. I'm going to play you out and I'll see you in the next video. If you're new here, please subscribe and ring the bell. Got loads more videos coming, including some more comparisons to this guitar, I'm sure. So I'll see you next time. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.